Self-contained ecosystem, terrarium. Have you imagined our ecosystem shrink in a jar? That is called a terrarium. What is a terrarium? Terrarium is like aquarium, but it is used for plants instead of fish. It is usually a sealable glass container and planted to look like a miniature garden or forest enclosed in its own tiny world.
How we made our terrarium. We prepare a glass jar, pebbles or rocks, loam soil, moss, a piece of wood, some small plants, and animals, and some spray of water. To create a terrarium, we need to simulate the four subsystems of the Earth: the lithosphere or land, the rigid outer part, the biosphere, the regions that contain life, the hydrosphere, the region that contains water, and the atmosphere contains all the air of Earth.
Glass jar. It represents the atmosphere of a terrarium. Some rocks like pebbles and gravel are some examples of a sedimentary rock. It is used for the shaping of the terrain and for filtration. Some loam soil for the surface and for plant and animal growth. Some moss to prevent soil erosion and to protect the ground. It is also a habitat for insects and source of food. Moss are also for filtering water. Piece of wood. This is the habitat for some termites and other animals. Some small plants and animals are the living organisms to live inside the terrarium.
We conducted a 4-day observation. Within 4 days, we will look at the condition of terrarium and we will observe what is happening every day. Day 1. The jar moss is because plants breathe, and during the photosynthesis, they produce condensation, which also increase amount of heat inside the terrarium, especially in the closed one. This means that this condensation will eventually leak down to the soil and water it again. Day 2. The animals roaming around the terrarium, finding their habitat and food. Day 3. The animals are finding their food to survive. All of animals are dying, and most of the plants are thriving and withering.
Results. After 4 days of being isolated of the enclosed environment ecosystem, it was observed that the animals inside died. The pill bugs, termites, cockroach, and worms start to not moving since before the last day of the observation. Another day comes, it was followed by the plants, and it starts to look pale and wilting. The plants consist of Kalanchoe pinnata, Katakataka, Peperomia pansit-pansitan, and Pilia microphylla. These are the small plants that have been chosen to put in the terrarium. the reason of this is happened because of mistakes in making or carrying of a terrarium. The cause of death of the animals is that the jar was slightly closed that suffocates them, even though they're surrounded by the plants. The terrarium was lack of air circulation that the living things inside didn't make it to survive. And the second reason why the animals die because of there's no food to eat and leads to starvation. Because the animals inside are eating decayed foods, while in the plants, the reason of their death is that too much water condensation.
Conclusion: Terrarium is a responsibility. Make sure that pick the best pair of plant and animals, because in a terrarium there is a relationship of organism. Don't overwatering. This might lead to plant dead, and do not give too much light. And for animals, make sure that they have the food to eat like plant. Remain in such. The terrarium should be balanced, and that was our mistake in making and growing our terrarium.